Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am finally back. I am so sorry, I was really sick. I had a pretty long cold and so yeah, I didn't get around to do any filming I think the last 2 weeks. So we are back. I am not 100% but like I would say I'm like 90-95% there again. Which is great. Also, I'm really sorry about the change in perspective. This will probably not stay the background, but I did a lot of rearranging. I used my downtime with being sick and rearranged my apartment, and part of that is rearranging this room. I have my workplace now in my reading room, which I love, but I have to figure out a good new perspective for filming. So I hope you're all okay with this for right now, just so I can get a video out actually, and yeah, I just hope it's fine like it is. So let's get to the topic at hand. Let's talk about my reading plans for November. Sadly, like you missed like half of the books I read in October because of me being sick. So yeah, for those you will have to come back for next week's video that will be about the wrap up of October. But yeah, let's take a peek into what I hope I will be able to read in November of this year. The first one is the one that I am currently reading, that I have already started, and that is the newest BookBox book from the Horror Illumicrate, and that is looking like this. The book is called You Were Meant to Be Human, and it is really weird. It's by Andrew Joseph White, and this is our main character on the front, and as you can see, he is pregnant. Let's talk a little bit about the edition first, because this book looks absolutely epic. I have to give that to this edition. This is a horror book. It's gonna be really hard to show because it's a foil on the cover, but yeah, this is the hive from the book, and then you have one of the worms on there, and as far as I can tell, the book plays out in a gas station, and so far the book is about people who want to take their own life, and then the hive steps in and kind of saves them in a way. Like you take the hive into you pretty much, and then life is supposed to be better after that. It's a pretty bleak book so far. It starts really graphic, so it does have a not a trigger warning, I would say, but it has like an explanation of the topics that you can like that are in the book. So if you are sensitive to those, you can be careful. Let me just give you the author's note on the book, so maybe that can help you if you decide to maybe also pick this book up. But the author's note says, in addition to a graphic focus on pregnancy, miscarriage, abortion, and childbirth, You Weren't Meant to Be Human contains depiction of suicidal ideation, self-harm, violence, sex, and abuse, sometimes alone, sometimes combined, sometimes indistinguishable one from the other, and that is how the book starts as well. So you have to be prepared for that. I wasn't. I mostly go blind into the books that I get out of the book boxes. Starts with our main character, who is trans, and he is currently pregnant. And yeah, it wasn't planned. Yeah, it's weird. Our main character is into violent sex. That is how the book starts as well. They work in a gas station with the hive in the back room, and it goes from there. I know really little, but it seems pretty crazy, to be honest, so far. I don't mind topics like that in books as far if they aren't solely used as a way to show how weak women are, which I think is a topic one can talk about. But yeah, for me, it all depends on how the things are depicted. The beginning is pretty graphic, but it is a situation where consent is given, at least in the beginning. So it starts off harsh but okay, I would say, and then we'll see where this book will be going. So yeah, that is the one I'm currently already reading. The rest of the month is gonna be a little bit more what I normally read, a little bit more on the mellow type. Let's start with the 2 thrillers I got out of my shelves. Because of rearranging the room, I took a better look at my TBR shelf and I decided I need to get through some of the thrillers, and I have quite a few James Patterson books on my physical TBR still, and so I decided, you know what, let's go. I don't have all of the series. This is the Detective Alex Cross series, but I decided I will just pick out the ones chronologically that I own in the series. These aren't like they are chronologically correct, but I'm missing books before and stuff like that, but I don't think it will really matter. So I decided to go with Kiss the Girl and Pop Goes the Weasel. These are 2 thrillers from the Detective Alex Cross series. I know pretty little about these. I think I've read the first that I owned already, but I can remember pretty little of it. I just have a feeling that I thought it was quite your average thriller, which I would be fine with. And so because I own quite a few and I haven't made any progress with these, I decided I would tackle 2 this month. They aren't too long. I think they're probably roughly around 400 pages. Yeah. So these should be a pretty good read in between all of the other books. I feel like thrillers always work out well, especially like detective novels. For me, they work well in any circumstance, so I'm not too worried about disliking these. They will probably more like be on the average side of thriller. Then we have, I think this is one of the last ones on my physical TBR from Stephen King. I do need to go ahead and buy more secondhand. But yeah, this is, I think, the second to last physical TBR book from Stephen King that I have, and that is Rose Madder. I did start this one a couple of months ago, I think. I just never made my way through. This is a woman who runs from her cop husband who is physically abusing her, and that is her story. Because she is afraid that her husband will kill her, and the story is about her husband being on her case and trying to kill her. And the husband is a cop, I think it's a story that we see often played out in real life. It is a pretty well-known problem that there are a lot of cops with anger issues. So yeah, we will see if I can get through this time around. I think the only reason I didn't get through it the first time was because it is so long, not because I disliked the book, though this isn't a book I would typically go for. I think I just bought it because it's Stephen King. So yeah, we'll see. I don't have the highest hopes because domestic violence is, like, for me, a pretty hard topic. I don't even know why. It feels like a really hard topic to read about, but I want to get through it. So we're gonna give it our best try. Then I have picked up one of the older fantasy books that I have on my TBR that I didn't pick up, like, because I wanted to read them. These were all in, like, book boxes where I wanted other books that I bought on eBay. And so yeah, I decided to go with this series. I have 4 books of the series. I don't know if there are more. This is Carol Burke's The Bridge of Darnath, and this is the first book, which is called Son of Avana. I know nothing about these books other than that they are more on the classic fantasy side. I know nothing about the author, have never read anything by her, but yeah, I own the whole series, so I thought it would be a good place to start, because I do want to pick up a new fantasy series, and it was either one of the older ones or one of the newest ones that I bought, and I felt like I owe it to the books to read the older ones first. So we're gonna see what this is about. I do like the cover, I have to say. It feels like more of one of the, like, 80s, 90s fantasy series, art-wise on the cover, so I do really love those. So we'll see. Hopefully this is good. I will not know till I try it. And then we have the last 2 books. One is one of the, I think this is the last sci-fi book from Illumicrate, which made me think about not wanting to get the box again because of the description. This is the book where the main character is called Page Found. Just let that sink in. It's the least creative name for a main character I've ever seen. But yeah, it's called An Unbreakable World, and our main character is kind of kidnapped, and she then tries to flee and one of the kidnappers helps her. She falls in love with them. Pretty much something like that, and I'm afraid that I will hate it. Probably not hate it. That is a strong word I don't like using. I'm probably gonna dislike this. It will probably be a DNF if the book goes how I suspect it will go, but we will give it a try, because I think this month is also a month where the book box should come again, and that book will determine if I will continue to get the box or not. So I think it's a good point to read this and then decide if I will even continue to get the box if the books aren't my type of sci-fi. It doesn't really make sense to continue to get the books if I don't like them. So I think it's time to read the book and actually get to a conclusion if I want to get the box or not. And the last one I will read if I get through all of the other ones. So this is more of an optional add-on onto the TBR if I get through the other ones. But this is Skyward, Claim the Stars by Brandon Sanderson. I haven't tried these yet. I own Skyward and Starsight, so the first two of the series. I think there are 3 or 4 out there now. I bought them because I liked the idea, and then I never got around to read them. So I have decided I finally need to pick them up, give them a try, and decide if I like the sci-fi from Sanderson, which I have no idea if it's good or not, because I know next to nothing about the books. I bought them when they came out and the hype was pretty big, but I never even looked at a review or anything like that. I just blindly bought them, which obviously was a mistake. If I like them or not, it was a mistake, because they are on my shelves for a long time now, since they've come out, and I have not picked them up at all. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know how sci-fi will go with Brandon Sanderson, because I don't love all of his books. I love the Mistborn series, but the rest has been really hit or miss. So maybe switching from fantasy to sci-fi might make a difference, and I might really love this, or this might be a big fail. I'm hoping for a hit. I'm thinking it might be a miss. But yeah, so far it's an alien race that is trying to kill humanity, and our main character wants to be a pilot, but she is kind of not really given the chance because her father deserted or something like that, and so she needs to step in, become a pilot, and save humanity. That is kind of what I've gotten so far of the story, but I don't know much about the details or if that is even correct. But yeah, that is the last book on the TBR. So I have 2, 4, 6 books that I absolutely want to get through, that I think are reasonable to get through, and then I have the 7th one that I'm hopefully going to get through, and then I have one that I'm currently listening to as an audiobook, which is We've Always Lived in the Castle. I think I'm gonna put the cover and the name on screen, by Susan Hill. I'm gonna correct myself if I'm wrong here. But I've read another horror book by her, and I got that as an audiobook. It's a shorter audiobook, but that is also technically on my TBR because we do already have November. I'm really late with filming this, I'm really sorry. But yeah, that is also a book I want to get through, but because it's an audiobook, it's gonna be done quicker, obviously, than my physical TBR. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm so sorry for the 2 weeks that I didn't film and upload anything. Hopefully we're back for good now. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you've read any of these books, please leave your opinion, spoiler-free, down below. If you have any interesting books on your TBR you want to share, please do that. I always love to see what other people read. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye!